Hi, I'm Peter Rose, founder of Longwood Currency Trading. Unscrambling the Forex matrix. You want to trade Forex? How do you go about doing that? I've been getting through this entire process that I've been on publishing videos on YouTube. I get basically the same questions from most folks. And that's all they are, is questions. What pairs do I trade? How do I trade in a range versus this? Where should I set my stop? How many lots should I stage in at different points? Those are all questions. Unfortunately, the question doesn't imply that there's an understanding of the process of trading below that. Why would you ask a question like those that I've proposed if you already knew the basics of trading and how trading goes together? Wouldn't the question rather be, I'm having problems structuring a rule that encompasses both trends and range-bound price action? What would I need to do? That's a whole different order of question. And so that presents the problem itself. What's the problem that you're trying to solve? And do you have enough information? And is that information relevant to that problem that you're trying to solve? And is that problem too complex? That's unscrambling the matrix. So let me take a few minutes just to outline what the problem of unscrambling the Forex matrix is. And if you have any questions about that and would like maybe some more information on how you would go about doing that, please send me an email. I'd be happy to chat with you. I have a course. It's a 6-week course. It's fast track, and it deals with these specific issues that I'm going to talk about in the specific order that I'm talking to them about, and in a very simplified manner so that we cut right to the chase in that course, getting started and finishing up in 6 weeks. So you take the confusion of information that you have and change that into process-oriented trading, and you can be released without adult supervision to trade live money in a live account. That's what the course is all about. I'm not going to pitch you on the course when you contact me, because I don't sell my course. If you're interested in the course, you can ask me about that and we could talk about it. But I would rather talk to you about these process rules, so that maybe that will help you out without you having to spend the money to take the course and the time, the 6-week period of time to get it right. Because maybe you have some underlying foundation background that you could take these bullet points and go, oh, I understand what he's talking about. I can apply that in here, and I'd be happy to do that with you for no charge. We could handle that maybe in a video conference or something, because then you'd have a specific problem, and I'd be happy to help you with that. But if you're having problems understanding the process of trading, I'm sorry, you have to take the course. Go reading books and watching videos is not going to do it for you. You have to have somebody actually teach you these steps to put that in order for you. And when you get done, you'll say, oh God, that was so simple. Why couldn't I figure that out for myself? Well, it's because the problem of trading in any market, is some of the most complex stuff that has to be done. Not only do you have to have base rules and technical stuff that you do, but you have to be emotionally tuned into that. I can be a plumber and I can be pissed off and angry at the dog and still do a good job plumbing. But you wouldn't be able to do any trading if you felt that way. So let's unscramble the matrix, the Forex matrix for you here. First, everything is based on information, right? The problem that you're having right now, I'll bet you a dime to a donut that you have too much information. You don't know. What question do you ask? Because you have all this information. You're mixing information about how to feed your dog with how to trade a currency pair. I don't think that's going to work, right? So really, it isn't so much the information that you need to know, but it's the relevant information for trading the Forex world currency market, not how to train your dog as a Forex trader. It's just unscrabbling the Forex matrix. What's the relevant information that you need to do that? Number two is that the information, the relative information that you get, then needs to be put into some kind of a sequential order. You cannot deal with information that's non-sequential. This creates a permutation matrix, and I've talked about that in many of the videos. I'll briefly summarize it here. If I have two choices to make, A and B, that's not two choices. It really becomes a permutation of four choices. I could choose A, I could choose B, I could choose AB by putting the emphasis on the A first and then solving B, or I could do BA. So for two choices, I have four permutations. If I have three choices, it jumps to 15 permutations. If I have four choices to make, maybe as far as trading goes, a moving average line, a Bollinger Band, RSI, it's Tuesday and NFP is out, or you're using engulfing candle pattern. You have four indicators, choices. You have 64 different ways you can arrange that. I can do it. I'm going to put more emphasis on the RSI than the Bollinger Band today. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to put more emphasis on the Bollinger Band than I am the RSI. Right? That's the shit that you're going through. So if you have four indicators that you're thinking about, you have 64 different permutations you could put that information in. If you had just five, and how many of you have I talked with that have five indicators, or you're talking about all this stuff? There's 325 different permutations. It is impossible. 64 is impossible. 15 is beyond the scope of being able to do that. And so that information needs to be put into sequential order the same way that you would how you drive a car. You don't just drive the car. You have to get into the car, turn the car on, step on the gas. You have to do at least those three things. You then have to also know the difference between the accelerator pedal and the brake pedal and how to turn the wheel and then how to put it in gear, okay? But those things are in sequential order. I got to get into the car before I can turn it on. I got to turn it on before I can step on the gas pedal. If I get into the car and step on the gas pedal, nothing happens. So putting the information, the relevant information in the sequential order is critical to solving any problem that we as human beings want to solve, okay? From the sequential relevant information that you have, you need to break all of that information, because that information is all about the trading. What do you need to know about trading? Well, I need to know about what the currency pairs are. I need to know about what orders are. I need to know what the currency pair is first before I understand what an order is. Once I understand what an order is, then I can go and understand the difference between a limit order, a market order, going short, going long, partial fill, or all that stuff. In the Fast Track course, I take all of the information out there and I break it into relevant information and order that in 7 different major relevant terms. Order is one of them, for example. So each one of those 7 terms that are arranged in order sequentially has subtopics to it, like the order, a limit order, and whatever that you're doing, as subtopics, and those are also sequential. So it makes learning the nomenclature of the problem much simpler. It's just 7 things you have to know. And then there's another 30 below that, well, I know what an order is, so I know the difference between a limit and a market order. It just becomes really, really simple. So then you're taking that information, that relevant information, and you're breaking that information now up into small chunks, smaller problems. You can't solve the whole thing. Oh, I'm going to trade currencies. Great. How are you going to do that? Well, I gotta put an order in first. Why don't you manage the position first? Well, I don't have a position, so I have to get in first. Oh, okay. So getting in first is the first problem that you need to solve, and then you got to solve managing the position, right? And then you got to solve getting out. This is what I did with my 33-year career as a software engineer when we used the software development lifecycle, the SDLC, to solve very, very complex problems. I took a rip on that. I call it the life cycle of a currency position, and that is 3 problems to solve in sequential order: entry analysis, position management, and exit methodology. That's it. Those are the problems. Now you take each one of those problems and you make sure those are in sequential order, and then you build rules to solve each problem. 1 rule for each problem. If the problem is so complex that you need 2 rules, then you need to break the problem into 2 problems. And then you have 2 rules. That's all part of how software engineers solve their problems, very complex problems. Once you have a phase like entry analysis, then you say, I need 1 rule. Well, what comprises a rule? Conditions, right? I have a problem. I want to change the oil in my lawnmower. How do I do that? I don't need to start the lawnmower. I don't need to pull the wheel off. I've got to unscrew the oil cap. I've got to open the oil can. You go through those sequences of conditions before you pour the oil into the chamber, right? So you have sequential rules, and then you have rules that are comprised of sequentially ordered conditions, such that the result of the conditions is a binary yes or no. I have a condition to enter. If this condition is true, great. Go to condition 2. Is condition 2 true? Yes, it's true. Go to condition 3. Is that true? Nope, it's false. I don't enter the trade. It's that simple. It's only when all of the conditions are true that the rule spits back a very simple answer. Take the trade. Okay, it's really simple. But it's based on your ability to understand the importance of having things in sequential order, and that your problems are in sequential order and the conditions of the rules that solve the problems are in sequential order, okay? And then finally, you need to create valid communication between those 3 rules. The entry analysis rule must pass its result to the position management rule in order for it to have enough information to do what it needs to do. When does that information get passed? That's a process question that I deal with in Fast Track. It's not appropriate to go through it in a short laundry list of stuff to do here, because that's getting into the mud, and we don't want to get in the mud, even though we're pigs and we enjoy being in the mud. Let's make it as simple as possible. So you need information, but you need to make sure that the information that you have is relevant information. Then you have to take that relevant information and put it into sequential order. Then you take that information, which is all the information that you need, the relevant information to solve the problems, and it's a complex problem. So that relevant information needs to be broken up into smaller problems that are easier to solve. Each problem has 1 rule. Each rule is comprised of conditions, and those conditions must be in sequential order. And once the problem is done spitting out its binary result, take the trade, it needs to pass certain information to the next rule. And there's no question about what that next rule is. It isn't the exit condition, it's the position management rule, so that that position management has the information it needs to fulfill the conditions that it has in order to determine what to do while the price action is allowing you to have a running position. So I hope that helps understanding what it is that you need to unscramble the Forex matrix. Now, I hope that helps you out and you can do it on your own. If you'd like more information, again, send me an email. I'd be happy to get a conversation going with you. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.